It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
All right, we are live. I'm slightly confused by the new layout, so I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch or something. I don't know if everyone's seeing this, but anyways, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts episode 114. We got everybody here, and we're happy to see everybody. So, man, I just pick at random, I guess. I'll go backwards. Hernan, how's it going?
Hey guys, hey everyone. It's really good to be here. I have no idea how to turn on the mic, off the mic, so I apologize if I'm a bit loud. We'll get used to it.
All right, Bradley, how's it going?
Marsha. You said Brady Bunch. I had to do it.
Awesome.
So I'm good, man. I'm excited about using the new Webinar Jam platform. I hope it works well for us guys to prevent some of the issues we've had with just flat out Hangouts before. So we're going to test it out and see what. I guess after one or two Hump Day Hangout sessions, you guys will be the judge and let us know what you prefer.
Yeah, definitely. Helpful feedback is appreciated. So.
Yep.
All right, Chris, how's it going?
Doing good. Finally snow here in Austria, enough to go snowboarding, so
nice.
We'll be off next week a couple days.
Awesome, that sounds like a good time. Speaking of not snow, Marco, how you doing?
Hey man, what's up?
How's the weather?
I'm can't complain, man. It's about 85 today. Dip in the pool before Hump Day Hangouts. It's always good.
Not bad, not bad.
Just swimming before Hump Day Hangouts. That's
well, somebody's got an open mic. If you guys can check real quick while I'm doing the announcements and see if that goes away. Anyways,
what's an open mic?
I can hear an echo. Might just be me, but since we're using the new setup. Anyways, real quick, wanted to let everybody know we've had some updates. We've had some other things going on with Outsource Kingpin and Content Kingpin, which is obviously the Mastery PR products via kind of Semantic Mastery. But on Monday, there's going to be some price increases associated with that. So we wanted to let everybody know today that you've got the opportunity, if you aren't in either of those products, now's a great time to go check them out. All right. So there's some awesome training. The Outsource Kingpin, if you're not using VAs, you should be. I mean, I'll let everyone else expand on that, but that's the bottom line. And then Content Kingpin's awesome. You know, great ways for creating really high quality content, but for a really low price. So I'm going to put the links up there. If you guys want to say something more about those, I mean, that's obviously not the sales page in words, but if you want to go in depth real quick, I'm just going to pop the links up so people can check them out.
Yeah, man, you mentioned products. I'm surprised you didn't mention that I'm going back in the lab.
Ooh, yeah. Good one. Well, I gotta watch it, right? I'm not sure, so I'll let you guys do some talking about that.
No, we just decided that it was time to shove more. Put the children away, shove more shit down Google's throat, and we've been kind of going back and forth. Of course, co-creator of RYS Academy, Dr. Gary Kerwin, and then another master spammer that we got hold of, and we're getting together for the next 6 to 7 months, or however long it takes. Just figuring out how to shove more shit down Google's throat and making them like it. So that's what we're into. That's what we're going for. And I think we're going to put RYS Academy on steroids, actually. If it's not on steroids already, it's going to be. So I'm looking forward to what comes out after we're done.
Yeah, that one's going to be a big one. Because, the first version is so freaking powerful still. And they're going in and adding a bunch of new shit to it too already, so it's going to be incredibly powerful. I'm excited to see it. And I just want to reinforce what Adam said about Outsource Kingpin and Content Kingpin, guys. We're tripling the price on Monday, tripling it. So just so you know, there will not be any whining or support tickets that come in that get special privileges unless you're a mastermind member. But other than that, it's going to be triple the price. So if you haven't got them, pick them up now. Because we're not going to be selling any cheap products anymore, inexpensive products anymore. They're too damn good, so it is what it is. So with that said, I saw somebody, Jay, you asked where do you submit questions ahead of time. On the thank you page after you register, there is and I even have a video that I recorded specifically pointing down and saying submit your question here, so you can submit a question there. I'm assuming if you have pre-questions before the next webinar, now that you're registered, you just have to register again. I don't know. We haven't tested that. I don't know if it'll give you an error code if you try to re-register. But also on the thank you page, guys, there will be a link. I point to it in the thank you page video that says that you can auto-subscribe to the rest of this Hump Day Hangout series so that the notifications will come to you every week without you having to register every week, unless you want to submit a pre-webinar question, in which case just go through the registration process one more time. It's very simple. Okay. That said, the questions can be posted here in chat once they're live. And if there's too much, if for whatever reason that doesn't work, posting your questions through the thank you page, like for example, if and again we haven't tested it, but if Webinar Jam says no, you're already registered or whatever, then we'll have to just set up like a Google form where you guys can submit questions ahead of time, and we might do like, you know, like HD questions or something, you know, semanticmastery.com/HD questions or something like that, so that you guys can always go to a Google form and submit your questions. So we'll test it out. Again, just bear with us. We're on episode 114 now, and we've done it all 113 episodes on just Hangout platform. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of kinks and bugs, but we'll work through it. Okay. With that said, can we get into what we got?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. So I'm going to grab the screen and we're going to look at the pre-posted questions that we did receive, and then from there we'll just jump into questions that come through chat. So let me figure out how to share screen again. Here we go. Are you seeing it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so here's the questions that were submitted. The first one was Mark O'Connell. He's a regular. He's the winner today for the first question. He says, Semantic Mastery Crew, I hope all is well. I have a follow-up question. I asked this a while back, and what I asked was, should I no-index my blog category page as it has a summary of the blog posts, and I didn't want any duplicate content issues on my site, and you advised to no-index it, so I did. And that works well for my lead gen sites because I don't care about ranking the blog, but I'm about to set up an affiliate site and would like the blog to rank. Should I no-index it and forget about ranking my blog, or is there something that can be done? Cheers. Well, what I was saying, category pages don't have to be no-indexed unless you only have one post in that category, okay? Because here's the thing, and it depends on your theme too, because a lot of times the themes, and I think you said that, it shows a summary of the blog post, is what you said. So typically a category page, if your theme only shows a summary and then like the read more link or button or whatever to go to the, you know, to expand to go to the full post, then that's not going to be duplicate content anyways, unless you only have one post in that category, in which case there could be a slight issue with that. But typically with a summary showing instead of the full text of the post, it's not going to create an issue. Okay, but I think what you're mixing up, Mark, with what I was talking about was tag pages, not necessarily category pages. Now, category pages, if you're going to be siloing out a site, a lot of the times the category pages are going to be, the category page URL will be redirected to the actual page URL that you set up. Because remember, you match slugs when you're siloing out a site. You create a page and then you go create a category with the same slug. And then what you can do is redirect the category page URL to the page URL. Because remember, even though they share the same slug, a category page is going to have domain.com/category/slug. So it's going to insert category in the middle of that link, if that makes sense. And so typically with a silo site, there's really no reason, unless it's a blog style site, there's really no reason for you to leave the category pages you know, for visitors to visit, because a lot of the times that's not, you want the top of the silo to be an actual page and not just an index page, which is what a category page is an index page. Does that make sense? So what I would suggest is you don't have to no-index them. I think you're confusing what I was talking about for tag pages. But for category pages, you're usually going to have more than one post in the category anyway, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. It only becomes an issue if the category page shows the full text post, in which case I would no-index it. Does that make sense? Anybody want to add to that?
No, I think that was perfect.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. And guys, the reason why tag pages I recommend no indexing tag pages unless you know what you're doing, because a lot of times people, when they create a tag for a post, they use unique keywords or unique tags for that post. And for every single post, for every single tag that you add to a post, WordPress automatically creates a tag page from that tag itself. And if you have a unique tag that's only been added to one post, then that tag page that's created automatically by WordPress will be an exact duplicate of the other of your post, right? The only difference is in the URL, because just like I mentioned before, domain.com/category/slug, a tag page is domain.com/tag/slug, right? Which would be their post slug in this case. And so what happens is you end up with a duplicate page if you only have one post with that tag, if that makes sense. If you have two posts with the same tag, then that's going to be a tag index page, just like a blog or a category index page. So it's going to list both posts on that tag page for that tag. So both posts that share that tag will be shown on that tag index page. And so that prevents it from being considered duplicate content. But you can also use canonicals, which would go in the advanced settings, go to tags and in advanced, or click on the tag and go to advanced, especially if you're using something like Yoast, plugin WordPress SEO by Yoast. Then you can go in and actually set canonicals from unique tags back over to the post, which is something that's pretty ninja, because then you can build links to the tag page itself, and it'll be harder for competitors to trace back what it is that you're doing. Okay, and it just gives you basically another link building point too. All right, so that's probably what you were confusing, but category pages are usually left to index. I mean, there's no reason not to index them unless you only have one post in a category page. But usually you're going to end up having them 301 to a actual page that's going to be the top of your silo anyways. Great question though. Next one, this one's from Chris. He says, an on-page SEO question. I'm building out an authority site and I want to sculpt PR authority on my site via the internal link instructions and keep as much link juice as possible. However, I also want to link out to authority sites too. Would it be wise to no-follow those links or not? What are your thoughts? I always no-follow outbound links unless I'm specifically trying to push link equity somewhere. But for all money sites, I usually just install a no-follow external links plugin that will automatically add the no-follow and target equals blank, which means open a new tab for any external links. I usually do that because when somebody lands on my site, if they click an external link, I don't want that to load in that same tab, because then they go off site. I'd rather it open in another tab so that even if they click over into the other tab, my site is still showing in their browser window. It's a better engagement signal for like analytics, for example, unless you have some advanced tracking scripts through analytics that show when a cursor or somebody's off the actual browser tab. But the universal analytics tag, the generic universal analytics tag, isn't that sophisticated. You have to go in and actually add scripts and stuff to analytics in order for it to recognize that your mouse is not within the browser or that somebody's not actually viewing that tab. So when somebody clicks on an external link and it opens in another tab, then you're still getting, under most or normal analytics conditions, you're still being shown as time on site. That visitor is still being shown as time on site. Does that make sense? And I just learned that in the last week, guys. So, because I'm brushing up, I'm actually learning a lot about analytics stuff right now. So I didn't know that before, but I still didn't want people to be taken off my site if they clicked an external link, because they may never come back. But at least when you click a external link and opens in a new tab, then your site is still available for them in another tab, so they can always come back to the site without having to click a back button or whatever. But to get back to your original question, should you no-follow them? I do. There might be some conflicting opinions out there. I'd like to hear Marco and Hernan's opinion as well. But I usually always no-follow outbound links on money sites unless I'm specifically trying to push equity somewhere.
Yeah, I wanted to say real quick that, sorry again about the mic volume. I'm trying to lower it, but I can't. Sorry. Now, yeah, I don't do follow. I leave them as they are. But that's just the way it is. That's just the way I do it. So at the end of the day, I think you'll need to test which ones gives you more equity, because I understand Bradley's position of no following them to keep the link juice, but I also try to keep the link juice flowing, or do not try to stop the spiders, and that has given me good results. But at the end of the day, again, when you, for example, when you are embedding a tweet, when you're embedding, Google Plus posts, etc., those are usually do follow links, So I just want to keep that exact same logic when doing outbound links. In any case, use them, because we have proven time and time again that do follow, no follow doesn't really matter, because we're getting good link juice from no follow properties, social properties. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of testing, I think.
Yeah, and before we get Marco's opinion on that, I want to explain that I totally agree with Hernan in that don't sweat so much. Like, for example, when you're trying to get links, inbound links to your site, don't worry so much about them being do follow, no follow. I think there's way too much emphasis put on that now. It used to be, a couple years ago, it was so much more important, but now link profiles are so heavily weighted with no follow links, because that's pretty much how most sites are going for external links. They are doing very similar to what I'm mentioning, which is just no following all external links. It's just an automatic thing. And so because of that, it's not necessarily the trying to push link juice or link equity as it is about pushing relevancy, guys. And you don't need to push PR to validate relevancy. Does that make sense? So that's why I typically, and again, it's like what Hernan said, I totally agree. You should test. You should test for your own specific situation. My logic behind always no following is a lot of the biggest sites do that. Most sites do that now, where there are no follow links for any external links. Number one. Number two, I don't care about losing link juice, but I no follow them because I don't want to lose the link juice, but it's not necessarily, to me, I don't care whether I'm losing link juice or not. I just want to make sure that the link, no follow or not, is linking to something that reinforces the content on the page that I'm linking from, if that makes sense. So the bots are still going to crawl that link. They're just not going to pass juice through that link. But if they crawl that link and they land on the destination page and it reinforces the content that they just came from, that's a positive signal regardless. So anyways, Marco, your turn, please.
Yeah, link juice will still bleed, no matter, even if it's no follow. They tell you that it's not passing any link equity, but it will, and it'll flow back. But what we do on a money site is exactly what you said: no follow everything, and then we go outside to other properties that we own to push do follow back to the money site. I mean, we select places like Twitter, YouTube, and Google, of course, because it's Google, to get the do follow links that we want to power up whatever it is that we're doing. That's why we went into RYS Academy. We're going to show people how to get do follow links from Twitter, a different way than what we showed in the original Twitter SEO Academy, which it turned into Twitter SEO Academy. We can actually get a really good do follow link out of Twitter, and those are really powerful because you have to remember your link profile is going to be mostly no follow, but then you go into these powerful sites and you get a do follow. Google pays special attention, and it becomes really powerful. And if it's within whatever it is that you're doing, if it's relevant, niche relevant, of course, and anchor text, I mean, it hits and it'll push everything up. It's unbelievable what happens when everything is sculpted right, when you do everything right, on site, off site, and you get hit with that do follow, and it just pushes everything up. So that's how we're doing it.
Thanks, guys. So the next one, let's see. Andy says, "Hi all. One of my clients has a website ranking well. However, we are building another new site for them and copying their old site content and articles over. We plan to give the old articles a facelift, making sure it's optimized well and updated with new images that are more relevant for the market today. Both sites are now live, but the old site will soon be closed. We currently link from the old site to the new one, and eventually will 301 from the old site to the new. Can you give us any tips on this kind of process and work? What's the best way to do this and make sure that all the backlinks copy over and we maximize link juice, etc.?" Well, I think while the old site is up, if you have both pages live on the web, like the old page and the new page, linking from the old page to the new page really isn't the best way to do it, in my opinion. You're better off pointing a canonical to the new page because it's the same content. It's called a cross-domain canonical. And again, you can do that with pretty much all of the SEO plugins now. You just go down to the advanced section within the page editor itself. Go down to the widget area where your SEO plugin is underneath the WYSIWYG editor, and click on the advanced settings for whichever SEO plugin you're using, and there's typically a canonical field there that you can paste the link to the new post, right? The new page with the content on it on the new website. All right, because it's the same content, and a cross-domain canonical is how Google actually tells us we're supposed to handle that. And then once you are done building out the new site and you're ready to make the permanent switch, then you make the 301. Okay? And what I would also do is take an inventory of inbound links to the pages and posts on the old site, and any, take a closer look. This is what I've always done. But take a closer look at the individual pages and posts, unless it's a massive site, and I don't know whether it is or not, but most of the sites that I've dealt with aren't that big, so I'm able to go through and take a look at the various pages and posts that have inbound links, because you'll be surprised, a lot of pages and posts won't have any links at all, or they might have a couple spammy links and stuff like that, in which case I wouldn't 301. So all I'm saying is, take a survey of the inbound link profile to individual pages and posts if it's not a massive site, and find if you can identify pages or posts that have kind of a poor link profile built to them, or some spammy links, some links from bad neighborhoods, that kind of stuff. Then I would not 301 those. I would just take the old page down, if that makes sense. You're gonna copy the content over to the new site, and you're gonna have a new page URL anyway. But then you're not pushing. The way I look at it is, if you're going through this process, it's a good time to try to clean up some questionable links within your inbound link profile. Now, if you notice, here's the thing: if you notice a significant drop, you're going to see a lot of dancing anyways, because you're changing domains. That's just the way it is. But if you, after some time has passed and it should start to settle in, if you're noticing that some of the pages and posts aren't ranking as well as they used to, or whatever, and they happen to be the ones that you did not redirect because of what you deemed were spammy links, then you might want to go back and selectively start re-enabling those 301s, if that makes sense. But again, I like to try to, if I have to go through that process anyway, I like to take the time to try to clean up the link profile. And you might not even have that issue, but if it's an older site, chances are you probably have some spammy links in that profile that could be cleaned up. You guys want to comment on that as well?
No, I agree with you, Bradley. Whatever you can do to clean that up, and then wait. Leave it give it like 15 to 20 days maybe to get that going. But I think that should help.
Very good. Jeff's up, new member of 2.0, so he's talking about IFTTT, I'm short, and moving along, loving the training and taking action. Awesome, Jeff. I would +1 you, but I can't. Which, by the way, guys, do you think, I'm just was thinking about this while I was listening to Hernan or Marco, but because this chat box is awfully small, maybe what we should do is still set up an event page, and at the start of every webinar, I'll just post the event page link, the Google event page link at the top here as a sticky comment. And then that way I can just pull open the browser with that window and we can see everybody's questions. And that way Wayne can still submit memes because I'm really going to miss those. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Like I said, this is a work in progress, guys. We're going to work out a system that works well. What do you guys think about that? Comment in the box. Let me know if you think having a Google event page available for each one of the Hump Day Hangouts so that we can see each other's questions better. That might be a better way to go. Let me know what you think. We're going to keep moving. All right, so Jeff says, okay, so how, any insight on YEXT? Good, bad, or indifferent? Okay, YEXT is okay. It's expensive. It works fairly well. I'm not going to lie. I've used it. The problem with the thing that sucks about YEXT is when you decide to stop paying them, they go in and basically remove all the listings that they were managing before. It's an absolute nightmare. So it's like once you get on the hook with them, you're stuck. You're stuck on the hook because if you get results, if part of the reason that you rank in the maps section is because of the YEXT citations that they're managing, which they manage a lot, then you go and remove that eventually because you decide you don't want to pay them $500 a year or whatever it is, $350 a year per listing or whatever it is. Then they're going to go in and basically pull all those down. It's a real pain in the ass, and it can end up really tanking your rankings because they manage a lot of the higher end citation links. And I've made that mistake. I avoided YEXT for several years, and then I let a salesperson from YEXT talk me into testing them, And so I've got a few clients in there, and a couple lead gen sites in there that I'm now stuck every single year. I got to pay that bill to YEXT for each one of those sites that they manage, because otherwise my rankings can tank. And so it just sucks because now I'm stuck. My hands are tied. You know what I mean? So I would recommend avoiding them. You know, there's some benefits to them, but I think overall you can still accomplish the same thing without using them. And then they're not going to, like, you know, pull the rug out from underneath you if you decide, if you build it up on your own, then you don't have to worry about that, is what I'm saying. So hopefully that makes sense. How negative is the outcome when canceling a contract in regards to citations and any NAP damage? I just explained that. Also seems like some of their sites have do follow links, except especially to Facebook and Twitter. Is it just worth it for company to keep their monthly subscription or dump it? Any recommendations? Happy New Year. Yeah, again, you know, I think once you're on it, you're stuck. Honestly, I've never. I attempted to pull one down that was ranking well before, and canceled it, and I ended up losing my rankings. And there was, like, I just remember it being a freaking. It was about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, but I just remember it being a nightmare trying to recover those citations that YEXT pulled down, because it was like a lot of the directories were saying that I couldn't register that site, the business, because of YEXT and that kind. It was just a pain in the ass. So the way I look at it is, if you're already using it, keep using it. If you're not using it, don't use it. You guys have any experience with YEXT?
No, unfortunately, I haven't, Bradley. You're the citation expert here. With that said, there's a big probability that we start offering that service as well. So yeah. I will just tease it, but I won't say anything else. But there's a big probability that we come to an agreement with one big, you know, company, so we can start offering that to you guys as well, with the quality that comes with Semantic Mastery products, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the next one, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. So, let's see, is it safe to blast the site.google.com with SAPE backlinks? I'm going to give you my answer, and then I'm anxious to hear the answers of the other guys too, but I blast the shit out of any Google property with any type of link. It usually doesn't, I don't care about spamming Google links. Usually, you know, I try to, the first tier links to the Google property, I try to make them somewhat higher quality, but then throw kitchen sink spam behind that. But for sites.google.com, yeah, SAPE backlinks, my suggestion is to try to get somewhat topically, well, at least categorically relevant links from SAPE. I know if you're buying links yourself from the SAPE network, you can do that. But if you're buying them from like a Black Hat forum provider, you can usually request. But if you're buying them from like a reseller that does it in bulk, a lot of the times you're not going to be able to specify which type of categories they're coming from. But it's an effective strategy, there's no doubt. What do you guys have to say?
He's talking RYS Academy here, and you're talking to the unrepentant spammer. So I've tried Fiverr gigs. I've tried to break it. Literally throwing anything and everything at it, at the, not only at the sites, but at the folders, files, everything that's involved with creating that sites.google.com, and it's still holding. I mean, most of the stuff that we did ranks like crazy. Still, anything new that we throw up now ranks even without backlinking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. The more that they try to shut things down, the more that they open up for some backdoor goodies, and so that's what we're after. Every time they close a door, another one opens, and so we go in there and see how much trouble we can get into. But yeah, totally. Throw SAPE at it. Throw the kitchen sink. If the dog gets in the way, kick him in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to say real quick that it's like those commercials where you see the guys that stunts months and say, "Do not try this at home." You know, Marco knows his stuff and he knows what he's doing, and we're having great results. But my point is that whatever you deem worthy, I guess the key word here is that the same way that we treat our IFTTT properties, you know, like Google Plus or whatever you're doing for a client or whatever site that you deem worthy, you may want to go with SAPE as a tier 2 maybe, or a tier 1, and then blast them with spam, whatever, but keep it safe. So, but then again, if you want to test with sites.google.com for your own projects or whatever, you do not, we always say this, you know, do not test on your client's website by any means. Do not test on whatever you deem worthy. Okay, that's really important. I think that's a big caveat. But yeah, go to town. I mean, go to town if you have your own projects that you want to test, or you want, just go totally full black hat and rank, churn and burn, whatever you're trying to do. Go ahead and go nuts. So
very good.
Yeah.
Justin's, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm
Marco.
going to agree and disagree with Hernan in that you totally protect the client, you totally protect your money. But if we're doing RYS methods, it all depends on how he's building his G site. Because if he's doing a traditional site, then you don't want to spam that site. You do want the next layer of protection, which he should then be building an IFTTT network around it and spam the crap out of that going into the Google site. The way that we do it, as you know, is we stack iframes.
Yeah.
And so the power goes through the iframe to the source, which is inside Google for extra protection, and from there it goes out to wherever it is that we want to direct it. That's why it works so well, and it's just extra layers of protection.
That's
And
a great point.
It's
Marco.
Google doing it.
Yeah, that's
So
a
it all
great point.
depends.
Because within the sites.google.com site, it's with the way that we set them up with the stacks, you're right. We don't link usually direct from the sites.google.com site to the money site. It's all the links to the money site are within the iframes, and that's a good point. And that separates what I was saying earlier and what Hernan was saying is if you were building the site, the Google site specifically to link over to your money site, then I would still put that first tier layer of links that were higher quality and then throw spam behind that. But as Marco was just saying, he's 100% correct. If you're using the drive stacking method that we do inside of the RYS training and the done for you RYS stacks that you can purchase, then yeah, you could spam directly to the Google site because there's not a direct link to the money site. It's all going through iframes, and that's a great point. So thanks, Marco. I forgot about that. Okay, so next one is Justin. He says, hey, please go into some depth on video syndication PBNs. I thought we did this a few weeks ago, but we can do it again. Themes, domain name choices, hosting options. Well, domain name choices, I typically don't give a shit what the name is, because if I'm looking at domains that are themed for particular topics, that's all I care about. I don't care what the name is. Hosting ops, so again, usually for video syndication posts, I'm going to let Marco talk a little bit more about this because he's heading up the Video Powerhouse builds right now. It's something that he took over. But when I was building out a lot of the video syndication sites for my own networks and stuff, I would just get domains based upon metrics. Relevancy wasn't as important a year ago for video syndication sites. I don't know what the impact is now, but I know before it was more about metrics, just like it was for buying domains for SEO, right? But now I believe it's going more about topical relevancy. What do you say, Marco?
Yeah, we're theming everything. We want that topical relevancy. So if we have a health category, we want it to be in some way related to health. We don't want to add something that was carpentry in a health category. And so we're not even looking at metrics. We don't care if it's 0, whatever, because it's third party, and they have their own algorithm, and they're only guessing at what Google is doing. From our testing, we know that Google wants relevant, right? Unique relevant content that's updated on a regular basis. That's what they want. They tell us exactly what they want. So we're after that. Metrics, if we can get an 80 domain, which you can't, right? And it's clean and it's pristine, yeah, it can be about anything, and you can change it because of the power that it has. Other than that, then just forget the metrics. Look for it to be relevant. Look for it to be on point in your niche, and that's how we're building out Video Powerhouse, and that's how we're building out the secondary embed networks. So we have the primary embeds with roots, and we're going to have IFTTT around it. And then from that, we're going into the secondary, which is also going to be themed Web 2.0. So we're getting double power, we're getting everything niche. So it's just going to it's going to be the best embed network out there, period. I mean, I don't know how much more I can say. And getting back to his question, that's what you should be doing. Domain names don't matter. Hosting options, hide the footprint as much as you can. Yeah. Maintenance involved, there's tons of maintenance because you have to keep track. they go down all the time, and you have to go in and you have to fix it. You have to update. I mean, if we have a couple of programmers that look over everything each and every day, right? That's how much maintenance is involved. So
For smaller networks, you can syndication networks, you can use MainWP to help you manage all that, and MainWP has extensions such as like uptime monitors and stuff like that, which could notify you when your sites go down. So you know, and that is a ranking factor. So it does actually matter to make sure that you got a somewhat decent host, that your sites aren't going down all the time. I know that can kind of suck if you're doing you know, video syndication sites, because you don't want to spend a lot of money on hosting those because they're just syndication sites. I get that, but you know, you might want to think about maybe getting a better shared hosting account from somewhere like WPX Hosting, which is Terry Kyle's hosting. I'm actually testing that right now. One of my newest sites, I just bought a hosting package from him, or something like that that has, you know, good managed services, and then using various DNS services, third-party DNS services like Cloudflare, you know, Amazon Route 53, and there's other ones as well. That way, even if you only have one IP, with video syndication networks, I found that it's not as important to hide the footprint as it is for like PBNs. At some point that may change, though. It's likely to change. And so you're better off masking or hiding as much footprint as possible up front so that you don't have to do it later. But what I'm saying is, for smaller networks, you can get away with using one hosting account, one IP. Make sure it's a decent host, though. And then trying to basically split up your sites using different DNS services. Okay, and that's another way to kind of like minimize your hosting costs, because one of the things is shitty about the you know, using like PBN hosts and stuff is a lot of times those host accounts are so overrun with just shitty sites, and they slam way too many sites on those IPs that like the uptime is terrible, and the pages load slow because of the bandwidth is being, you know, hogged by the hundreds of sites on those single IPs. You know, it's ridiculous, and so a lot of the times the SEO hosting isn't good, and I'd rather spend more money for a better host and then try to diversify my IPs, you know, change your SOA records and things like that to be able to hide the footprint, if that makes sense. Okay. Well, again, with video stuff, it's a little bit more forgiving, guys, than it is certainly than it is for blog networks for websites. All right, we're gonna roll through.
The way we went after building Video Powerhouse is just set it up from the get-go to hide anything and everything we could, so that we wouldn't have to do it later on.
Yep.
I mean, it's just better. It's preparation, right?
Yeah, and I agree with that, because again, you know, even if you can get away with it now, you know, let's say a year from now, all of a sudden IPs and footprints affect even video syndication, you know, video ranking, as it does, you know, and it can become a negative factor, like it would for a website, you know, using blog networks for websites. And if that's the case, then you'd have to go back through and rework all of your networks, and that's a real pain in the ass. So you're better off setting it up now the correct way. All right, the next one is, if you use a copy of the exact same image on multiple pages and use different file names, is this a low quality signal, or is this a good way to improve relevance? No, it's a low quality signal, Sky, because Google can read that image. Their image recognition algorithm is a hell of a lot better than it used to be. So even changing like the file names and stuff isn't going to be good enough. I guess if you skew the images and that kind of stuff enough, you could probably get away with it, but it's better to use unique images on every page. And just so you guys know, like, there's been a lot of testing done. Eric Lancheras, he does a lot of testing on stuff like this, and he's done some tests and case studies where he's proven that using original images over stock images is a ranking factor. Even if you have a stock image with the licensing and all that kind of stuff, it's the fact that it's not unique. Google knows that image is a stock image because it's used on other websites. And so, don't get me wrong, I still use stock images today. I'm not going to always have unique images for sites, but if there's any way you can get unique original images, that's actually a ranking factor. So, but using the same image on multiple pages, that's kind of a negative factor, because Google can recognize that image unless you're doing something to skew the image to make it unrecognizable. And you can do something like go to TinEye and drop the file in there and see where else it is on the web. You guys familiar with TinEye? If not, go check it out. You can drop images in there and it will tell you where else that image is on the web. Alright, so let's go take a look at that real quick. Reverse image search. There you go. tineye.com. You can drag and drop an image in here. You can paste a URL in here. You can do whatever you want, and it'll go out and show you where that image is on the web, where TinEye has it indexed anyways. Okay. So recommend trying to stay unique if possible. All right, last one on this sheet, and then we're going to get into what's in here, which I know we didn't get very far, but it is what it is. David's up. He says, what impact do you guys think that RankBrain is having on the indexing and ranking of website assets such as articles, etc.? All right, well, my understanding is that RankBrain is an algorithm layer that was added that brings Google search more further into the semantic web, because it understands more what the semantic relationships are between words and entities, more about entities than anything. And also, and I'm going to let Marco talk about this because I know he's the patent geek out of all of us. But as far as indexing and ranking of website assets and articles, again, I don't think it's so much about indexing and ranking. It does have an effect on indexing and ranking because RankBrain is looking to validate the entity, the publishing entity, right? So the publisher of the content, it's looking at its other relationships to other entities on the web. Like, who is this entity, and how does it relate, and how does it fit into this topic, this category? And is it an authority site or is it an orphaned site? Does it have semantic relationships or does it not? That's going to affect indexing and ranking. But Marco, can you share your expertise with this?
You hit the nail on the head. Entity validation. I mean, that as we go deeper and deeper into the semantic web, and we're already pretty deep in the shit, it's what it's all about. You're either a validated entity that's trusted and authoritative, or you're somewhere in the middle, or you're out there nowhere and nobody's paying attention to whatever it is that you're doing. And so you either have to become a seed site or part of a seed set, or get as close to a seed site or a seed set as possible so that you feed RankBrain, right? You feed that artificial intelligence and get the bot to see you as that validated, trusted entity that's authoritative in its niche. I hope that makes sense.
There you go.
That's how it works.
This graphic right here, right?
Love that one.
Exactly.
Circle of trust. You. So if you're not in the circle of trust, and that's what RankBrain does. RankBrain determines whether you're here or here. So anyway, that's a funny movie. I haven't seen that in a while. The Fockers.
And so I'm going to tease a little bit more in that we're actually after the 3-pack and the knowledge graph with RYS Academy Revisited. I still don't know what we're calling it. We're still going to call it Rank Your Shit, whatever, because you can rank your shit with it. But it's what we're after is exactly what you're showing. It's showing you how to get into that circle of trust by using Google. So I'm hoping it turns out the way that I see it turning out.
All right, we got a few minutes to and let's see, and then guys, I'll go through the questions later on and see. Let's see. I heard you, Marco. I don't know who wasn't hearing you, but anyways, I'll go through later and see what your responses was to my question about setting up an event page for these. We'll see how that works. Adam, has anybody been paying attention to questions? Never mind.
Yeah, we've been interacting a little bit, but
yeah.
I just start at the bottom and work our way up.
Okay.
We got about 5 minutes?
Greg has the first question.
Okay, I want to make my page. Is that the one?
Yeah, or
okay.
the one below that, Wayne. I think we answered that.
Yeah, I think let's do that. Greg's question.
Okay, I want to make a page on my site, a static or sticky page. Let me see, guys. I'll grab the screen. I know you probably don't know because it'll look like that mirror and mirror thing, so never mind. Okay, I want to make a page on my site, a static or sticky page, and co-citation with one particular outside authority site and leases Rankfeedr. Can we add that same page to multiple RSS feeds and have different page from the outside authority site to each of the different created feeds? And have a different page from the outside authority site to each of the different created feeds. Yeah, Greg, of course you can. And that's actually really powerful. With Rankfeedr, okay, you guys know, those of you that purchased it, if not, it's a very powerful SEO tool for creating co-citation. And so, yeah, Greg, you can absolutely take one post or page and make it sticky across multiple Rankfeedr feeds and use different content sources for each feed, that if they're topically relevant, each time the third-party content sources post new content or publish new content, the feed updates, the bots come crawl it, and associates that type of content with your sticky post, your sticky page, whatever. So yes, that's a very, very powerful strategy, Greg. And I don't see how, as far as I know, I haven't tested it, but as far as I know, you could probably stack just about unlimited feeds on that, create unlimited feeds with that post is sticky, and all it would do was help the relevancy. Again, I haven't tested it. I recommend that you do that prior to implementing it to like a money site, for example, or if it's a lead gen site or something that you're willing to test on, that's fine. I wouldn't do it for a client site, though, until you've tested it. But that's a very powerful strategy indeed. Okay, next, Ethan. Hey guys, what are the expectations with in-stream video ads? I ran a test campaign with placements that were topically relevant, although many of these placement videos didn't have intent. Unfortunately, the results were disappointing. I received about 350 views and only one phone call. My ads are... And is that what happens? It just cuts it off?
Yeah, I guess we're going to figure that out. I don't see a way to expand it or anything.
Well, we might... Yeah, I think we're going to have to set up an event page for the next one, guys. And that's cool, because then I can lock the screen on the event page, and you guys can all see, what I'm looking at as well. And that's probably the way to go, guys. So for next week, we'll do that. Just so you know, I'll create a Google event page, and I'll post the link as a sticky link at the top of the chat box here. So once you join the webinar, you can just click on that and take us over. And by the way, what I might do is create the event page like we had been, and then send an email out notifying you guys that the new event page is up prior to the webinar so that you can post your questions early. How about that? Let's do that, because that way you guys can still post all your questions and on the event page prior to the webinar. I think that's the best way to go. So we'll test that for next week, guys. Sorry. So Ethan, as far as in-stream ads, I have really, really good results with in-stream ads. Now, it's not all campaigns, there's no doubt. But like for list building purposes, when I'm driving people from an in-stream ad to an opt-in page, I'm having incredible results with in-stream ads. In fact, some of my in-stream ads are actually producing cheaper cost per acquisition or cost per conversions than a lot of the other types of ads that I'm using, which is incredible. And we have masterclass starting in about 10 minutes, so we got to wrap this up in about 5. But we got masterclass starting in 10 minutes, and we're going through a case study there where I'm doing an affiliate case study with nothing but paid traffic, and I'm getting really good results with in-stream ads as well. And we go into that like in granular detail on a bi-weekly basis. So if you're not in the masterclass, you should probably join, Ethan, for real, because if you're doing any sort of paid traffic, like I am literally neck deep in that right now in the case study, and it's getting more and more advanced, and it's awesome because I'm seeing killer results. Okay, so but yeah, if you structure your campaign properly, guys, you should be able to get really good results. It's all about targeting, though. You have to make sure, like you said, that the videos may not have intent. They may be topically relevant, but you got to try to put yourself in the viewer's position and what their intent is at that time. If they're just trying to gain some general knowledge about a particular topic, then they might not be in the position to take action. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're unlikely to convert because they're not at that part of the sales cycle, where they want to make a purchase decision or take action. Whatever your conversion goal is, you know what I mean? So it's a matter of trying to figure out and target specifically the types of videos that they may be watching when they're further along in that process, closer to that conversion goal, if that makes sense. So you just got to spend some more time refining your targeting, building your placement lists, and maybe test some other targeting types. Okay? Adam,
all right, I think we got to wrap it up and get ready for masterclass.
Yeah, okay. We'll do that, and I got about 5 minutes, right? Or no? Do I have to do it now? Yeah, actually, because we're starting with...
yeah, we should cut it off.
Webinar jam, I probably do need to cut it off. All right, guys. Well, this was our first attempt. We appreciate everybody being patient with this. Next week, like I said, I'll set up an event page, and then I'll email it out to everybody on the list so you can post your questions early. And then when we get into the webinar next week, I'll post the link at the top of the chat, and everybody can go chat on that event page, and hopefully that'll work. So thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll see you guys in masterclass in a few minutes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.